Hello everybody and welcome to the Quilters Apothecary. Today we are going to do a wonderful, effective, but simple cornerstone, which you can also use in a quilt block. So let's head over to the machine, but first I want to make sure that you go ahead and look down and subscribe to our channel if you could. It really helps us out, as well as like the video if you do. And also, if you just hit the bell, then whenever we put out new tutorials, it will let you know. So let's head over to the quilt and let's see how this flows. So here we have our cornerstone. And what we're going to do with this cornerstone first is, let me point out a few things. I actually, in this particular border treatment, went in on the cornerstone a half of an inch on the inside edges. And then I'm not going to do that on the outside edges. We're going to take into account a 1/4 inch binding space, and we're going to cut that off there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is go in a 1/4 of an inch because we need registration marks to where the binding is going to go. So I'm going to line this up, and actually we've squared. I used a channel lock to make sure that this whole quilt border is perfectly square. So I'm going to line that up. I'm going to go right to my sew line, take it in a 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to be using my thick chalk today just so you can see it a little bit better. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to take this here. We're going to line that up, find my sew line, my basting line. I'm going to go a 1/4 inch in there just to make sure that it's nice and square. There we go. We're going to put that in there. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go corner to corner and I'm going to create an X. So I'm going to go from here up to here. Now remember, I'm using the chalk lines here. I am not doing it from corner to corner to the outside of the edge. I'm doing it within the chalk lines. I'm going to turn that ruler, line it up, repeat that process, and so now we have a nice centered block. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this ruler, which has some 45-degree marks on it, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to take that 45-degree right on there so I can go right to the center, and I'm going to do a center line here, and then I'm going to cross and repeat that process, go right up there to the center line there, and I'm going to make a line. So now we have a perfectly centered block with 8-piece pies. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out what size curve, and I'm going to use my circles. You can use any type of a curved ruler, even an oval, but I'm going to be using my circles. And first, I need to figure out what size do I want, i.e. what size curvature do I want within this space. So when I use this one, and this happens to be a 6-inch finish, and I go in there, what I see is as I raise this up to get to where I would go, that would leave a pretty big arc. And I actually think that that arc is a little bit too big for what I want in this particular block. So let me try this one, which is an 8-inch finished circle. And I'm going to slide that right up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the center line on the circle going straight through that vertical line right there. And I'm going to take it up and I'm going to take into account my 1/4 inch hopping foot right here in these corners. So in other words, I'm going to back it off just a little bit because I want to make sure that I hit here, and then when I sew it, I'm going to come over to here. Now I like this size, I like that level of curvature because we're going to go inside there and we're actually going to put some feathers. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to work my way around this block, as you're going to see in a minute, but when we do that and we lock our stitches, I want a nice bold line to make this beautiful fabric pop in the quilting pop. I want it to give it a beautiful pillow effect, almost a faux trapunto. So I'm going to be going 1, 2, 3, stop, turn the ruler, line it up, 1, 2, 3, stop, turn the ruler, and this is one of those times where I will be putting the ruler behind the hopping foot, 1, 2, 3, stop, turn the ruler, 1, 2, 3, all the way around. Okay, so I've locked my stitches here in the corner, and we're going to pull out our circle. And notice on our circle we have all of these wonderful marks. We put a lot of thought into our circles, and then we have our leverage handle. It's not actually a handle that you hold like this. It's just something to give you some leverage. And I also spritz the back of the ruler a little bit with an adhesive just to make sure that nothing slides at all, to help add to the stability along with our leverage handle. Now I'm going to line that up, and I want to see what line that goes to, so that way as I move around the block I'll know exactly where it goes. So we're just above the 1-inch mark. So now I know as I work my way around that I'm going to go just above the 1-inch mark. So I've got this locked in place. The circle is not going to shift. I am on stitch regulator. Let me double check that. And I am on precision stitch regulator, so in other words non-cruise. If you were using cruise, you would use a slow speed so that way you have a little bit of time to stop and turn the ruler, but I'm going to stop the machine for the video. 1, 2, 3, stop. And now I'm going to shift the ruler over here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line that up. I'm going to see how far in that goes. I'm going to come up just a little ways. Line it up. One, 2, 3, because I want a nice bold line. I want this design to pop. Now I'm going to take the ruler, and my rare time I'm going to do it, I'm actually going to go behind the hopping foot. So now again, we're a 1/4 inch away here. I've got my hopping foot. We always want to take into account our 1/4 inch hopping foot. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to shift the ruler. Okay, so now we have that lined up. We're going to come down. 1, connect, 2, 3. Gonna lock my stitches. I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna pause, and now we're gonna go around and I'm gonna put feathers on the inside using this curve as the spine. Now, I am not going to start right here. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to follow the stitch back over here, or actually I could even grab my straight ruler and follow my ditch here, because I'm going to have these two going out away from each other, and then I'm going to mirror the other side 2 arcs. So I'm going to follow this stitch. Okay, so now I put myself on cruise to do my feathers. So now I'm going to come away, and I'm going to start with my small feathers, swirl back, bump the top, new frond, swing away and back, bump the top, new frond, swing away and back using that arc as my spine, new frond, swing away and back, bump the top, new frond, swing away and back, bump the top, new frond, swing away and back, bump the top, new frond, swing away and back, bump the top, do my little mini, come back. Now I'm going to use my ditcher. I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to head back the other way so that I can mirror on the diagonal those feathers. Okay, so now I'm going to head up the back here. Swirl up and back, bump, frond, swing away 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 and back, bump, frond. I love that fabric. That fabric is so pretty and shiny. Swing back. It's some sort of silk. Bump, frond, back, bump, frond, but it's not the radiance. Back, bump, frond. So I'm up here. I'm going to slide up, and now I'm going to come all the way over to the corner, and now I'm going to repeat that same process. I'm going to feather from here all the way to here. So I'll feather here, I'll come over, follow the ditch or follow the binding line, and then I'll do the same thing and head this way. So now I'm going to swing back. Now remember, I am not filling these feathers all the way out to the outer edge. Our 1/4 inch end line, which is our binding line, is here. If I extend those feathers longer, then when the binding gets put on, it's going to cut off the tip of the feathers. Swing away and back, bump, frond, back, bump, frond, back, bump, frond. By the way, this beautiful piece was done by Patrick Whalen and Nina Fire. Frond, back, and actually Patrick hand dyed this piece of silk as well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide out, travel here, come back up, and slide back, and now I'm going to feather coming all the way down. Back, bump, frond, 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 lock my stitches, slide out into the binding line, lock my stitches again, and now I'm going to move this away. And then we're going to do the secondary part of our design element. So now there are options here. We have tons of things we could do in here. We could actually use each of these triangle shapes and go in and feather and fill this with different design elements to give it a look that looks something like this. And you can see how we did that same thing, and the angle that I did was like this on our actual quilted piece, where the feathers would go out and in. So that would have been one option. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to keep this just a little bit more geometric because I want to give it a little bit of puffy pillow in each of these corners. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a curve, and I'm going to curve here, 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 and then back. So we're putting a curved diamond shape or a curved square shape right in the middle, and then I'm simply going to go inside that curved shape, and I'm going to go ahead and fill, which is really going to pop out those corners. Now I am going to use the mini to actually do the curves from corner to corner, and this is the mini curve 2. But first, I'm going to use this and get to our starting point. So there would be our starting point. I'm going to line that up. Now I'm going to keep this center line on my curve right on the cross line every time I do that. And I want to remember to take into account that I need to be a 1/4 inch away from that mark so that it ends in the right spot. 1, 2, 3, stop, turn the ruler, line it up, make sure that that's nice and straight, go right up there, make sure I'm a 1/4 inch away. 1, 2, 3, and now with the Mystic Curve 2, rather than go behind the foot, what we'll actually do now is we will angle it this way, and we'll line that up, and we'll take that a 1/4 inch away. So we've got that lined up, and back here, if you can see, we will be a 1/4 inch away. Let me make that mark just a little darker for you. 1/4 inch away from that spot right there, so it ends properly. 1, 2, 3, and then same thing, we're going to pivot the ruler. We're going to line that up. I want to make sure that my center line stays as lined up on there as possible. And now I'm going to go ahead and repeat that. I want to make sure it's a 1/4 inch away. 1, 2, 3. So now we've created this wonderful bold shape in here that now I'm going to go in here and just put some microfill in. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to do my micro swirl. I want to keep it nice and small so that it faux trapuntos that outside corner portions. Throw in a few little feathers. Go back to my swirl. Marry that in. Come around, echo to fill. Remember, there's no such thing as too much echoing. Come around. If I accidentally cross over a line, I'm not going to sweat it. You'd have to get in pretty close. Do some feathers on the outside. And again, any little filler that you like to do yourself. And what can be a micro filler? Any edge to edge that you like doing. You just practice doing it as small as you can get it. So now I've got that filled. I'm going to lock my stitches. Pull away, grab my thread, come back, take another single stitch. I always want to pop that stitch up. Did you hear that pop? Grab it. I'm going to trim right down to the quilt. I'm going to move away. And now we have this wonderful block design in the Cornerstone. Okay, well, there you have it. So now you have another block for your portfolio. And remember, you want to keep building a portfolio. I always say, as a surface quilter, you are a performer. That means you don't wait till opening night to start learning a bunch of different lines, or in our case, block designs, border designs, filler designs. You want to build your portfolio first so that when a quilt comes, you have a ton of different options that you're excited about using in a quilt. So, as usual, have a wonderful day and have a wonderful time quilting. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and we will see you down the road.